Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready.
Alright, so I was up scrolling at like 6 a.m. I'm like still half asleep, but this tweet really hit me and I was like, I'm gonna make a video about this. Also, I love this creator. They're hilarious on TikTok and Twitter. But this tweet really resonates to me both as a internet creator and also a Black woman in the world because it exists in both spaces, and I've often felt it as a person who creates on TikTok compared to other people who are making the exact same content as me. There have been so many times where I have made videos making valid points that I have researched, and there's research to back up, but the vitriol I get is nowhere near what other people who do not look like me are getting. And I'm fully aware that that is because I'm a Black woman and I present as such on camera and in real life. So here's to continuing to challenge social norms, because I don't care and I'm going to keep saying it. Have a great day.
Easter fit check. So thank God I didn't have to go to church today. My parents have released their Catholicism. But it would have been so cool to show up looking this gay and being the center of attention. But alas, we are going to brunch. I went with something more mask today. Men's 60s knit button up. Sorry if you can hear my grandma. She's loud as hell. Watch. I'm mixing gold and silver. What are rules? Got my suit pants on, even though it's so hot. It's 78. I can't take it. Bagu socks. Yes, they make socks. And then my like teal turquoise Vans. I look really bad in pastels. There's like a little bit of blue here. That's my look. I might throw up my hair half up, half down. This outfit is missing something, but honestly, it's too hot for layers, so goodbye.
I'm going to show you two pictures, and I want to see if you can tell me the difference. The first picture is of Riley June Williams, who stormed the Capitol violently and stole Pelosi's laptop and then tried to sell it on the black market. She got 3 years in prison. And the second photo is of Crystal Mason, a Black woman who filed a provisional ballot on the advice of a poll worker. Her ballot was never counted. At no point did she have any intent to commit fraud, and she got 5 years prison. So a white woman who committed violent insurrection and tried to overthrow our democracy and kill the Speaker of the House gets 3 years prison. But a Black woman who files a provisional ballot on the advice of a poll worker gets 5 years prison. This is a reminder of two things. A system cannot fail those it was never meant to protect, and the system as it is right now isn't broken, it's working as intended. This is why I say we must activate and organize and change the system and build one on true justice for all.
Nope. Now, if you were a person of color, this would be someone else's job. But judging by your illustrated profile picture, you are a fellow mayo monster who is in desperate need of a lesson on intersectionality. Firstly, no, you can't be racist against white people, but that's not what that other person was saying. We both know that. Intersectionality, as it applies to marginalized identities, is a complex school of thought. But what it is not is a layering or stacking of identities. The term misogynoir is a very good example. A lot of people, particularly white people, mischaracterize the word misogynoir by defining it as simply the combination of experiencing misogyny and racism at the same time. But that's not what it is. Misogynoir is the unique thing that comes about from the intersection of racism and misogyny. It's what you experience in addition to racism and misogyny because of what happens when those two things intersect. It's the unique result of the intersection. That is also what you are failing to understand about lesbophobia and biphobia. Lesbophobia is not just the experience of being a woman and being gay at the same time. Biphobia is not just the experience of being straight and gay at the same time. Lesbophobia is what you experience in addition to misogyny and homophobia when you're a lesbian. Biphobia is what you experience in addition to homophobia when you are both straight and gay. So I'm gonna need you to think for like 30 seconds about the myths surrounding bisexual people, particularly the ones around promiscuity, infidelity, and untrustworthiness, and the myths surrounding both Black men and women. And I'm separating those there because there are promiscuity myths about both groups, but they are a little bit different. Do you honestly think that when those two things intersect, it's not going to create a unique fucking monster? So when you call the word biphobia white made-up nonsense for white women to make themselves victims, you're not just forgetting that Black bisexual people exist. You are perpetuating the most insidious, dangerous, violent love child of this phenomenon. Now, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a term or label for this specific love child yet. If I'm wrong and some of y'all happen to know what it is, feel free to tell me. But that doesn't mean it's not real, and it doesn't mean it's just homophobia and racism. It's dangerous bullshit, and I'm not gonna let you, as a fellow white person, weaponize woke racial language to erase and subsequently perpetuate violence against some of the most victimized and vulnerable groups in our society.
If you are attracted to fat people, or the person you're intimate with is a fat person and you're too embarrassed to be seen with them in public or around your friends and family, you are a coward. Wah, wah, wah.
So you support misandry? You think it's okay to hate men just for being men? I don't think you understand why misandry exists in today's society. Like, you know, the only reason why misandry exists is because misogyny exists, right? Any person of a marginalized or oppressed group is absolutely allowed to hate their oppressors. And it is not the same as the other way around. The same way that when a Black person or any other person of color says, I hate white people, I don't take it offensively, because I understand that they're more often than not talking about me individually. They're talking about white people as a whole. They're talking about whiteness, white supremacy, which more often than not, a lot of white people engage and continue to uphold. And there is a big difference between a Black person or any other person of color coming up to someone and going, I hate you because you're white, which, by the way, I've literally never seen happen before, versus a Black person or any other person of color going, I hate white people. I get it. I'm part of the parchment paper platoon. I hate white people too. Well, yeah, that's reverse racism. You're racist against your own race. Why did I waste my breath?
Definitely for looking out for our children, as they do not need to be exposed to any.
A child is so much more likely to be groomed and sexually assaulted in church than they ever would at a family-friendly drag event. This is a stone cold fact. Also, the men who claim that drag can never be family-friendly are the same men who will bring their 8-year-old sons to Hooters to gawk at the waitresses and take photos like staring at their actual boobs. What the fuck? We also have to talk about how in your video you said, I've never been to a drag show, but I've seen a few little snippets online. You fucking dumbass. Allow me to break it down for you in a way that even your smooth brain might be able to comprehend. Not all drag is family-friendly, but drag can be family friendly, just like any form of media. There are movies that are appropriate for children, and there are movies that are not. You just have to pick and choose what you expose them to. You're using children as a prop, as a shield, to push your homophobia and transphobia. You don't care about their safety.
Do you know if you sleep with more than 5 guys, your chance of a happy marriage after 10 years goes from 80% to 25%?
It's crazy how in society the joke will always write itself. I obviously don't agree with what she's saying when it comes to happy relationships, etc. Because many women who are chaste, many women who've never had sex before, have their husbands cheating on them and giving them STDs. Promiscuous women have never been the problem. Literally in the Black community, most Black women have STDs because of Black men. Promiscuous women have never been the problem. For anyone who's like myself, who's very promiscuous and has had lots of sex with men, I can agree that, you feel worthless after. Because the men make you feel worthless. They make you feel like an object and not a partner that you're having sex with that you want to pleasure. So it's not shocking, that is to say, it's not shocking that you have more sex with men and then you feel even more shit because men are shit. Y'all even prove how as men you're a misandrist because you're not even able to give any objective, moral, good, or, sound, peaceful things about what men do and what men add to women's lives. The more women have sex with men, the more women interact with men, the worthless she is. Do you see how the joke writes itself? Do you see that? It's crazy how it's actually true. Because I've noticed for men who date bisexual women, they don't usually have a problem when women sleep with other women. They always have a problem when women sleep with men. Or more specifically, cis men. They're even protective of their daughters and wives and the women that they claim to value in their lives. When this body count discussion starts and this joke starts, how do y'all not laugh? It's fucking funny. Literally because women, or at least cis women, have sex with men, that their bodily autonomy is literally taken away from them. And there's still an had to count. I've had sex with a lot of people. How many of my sexual experiences were not exploiting me or, technically coercion or rape? Half of it will be gone. So what's even the construct anymore? Do we even count these experiences? And I'm sure if you look at it, it's probably the same for most women or people that have sex with men in this case. So who is the problem? Y'all are so funny because you're writing a joke where you think we're the punchline, but it's really you. Like I always say, when people a lot of the time are projecting themselves onto you, saying how horrible you are for things they've done to you, it's fucking reflection, bitch. You're looking in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror.
I've been contemplating whether or not I should respond to this comment because it perplexes me. He starts off strong. Sir Master Daddy starts off very strong with this one. He says, there's a serious problem. Yeah, it is. Women are being killed. It's a serious problem. Then he goes on to say, as long as it's not coming into this country, I'm not going to worry about it. He shrugs it off. And that is male privilege. That is a privilege that men have, to shrug off the death of women in large numbers. But what you, Sir Master Daddy and the likes, don't comprehend is that it is happening in your country. It is just taking a different form. While women in Iran are being killed for wearing headscarves incorrectly, women in America are being killed slowly by a lack of reproductive health care services. Abortion bans, that's killing women at alarming rates. Women in America are being killed due to domestic violence that's not taken seriously by the American court system. Women in America are being killed by sex trafficking and human trafficking rings that are going cross-country and growing at alarming rates. Women in America are being targeted and are being persecuted and are being killed. It might not look like it does in Iran. It might not look like it does in China. It might not look like it does in North Korea. It might not look the way it does in Argentina. But women internationally are being persecuted, and women in America are included in that. And the sad thing is, as a male, you have the privilege to not see it. But if you scroll through the hundreds of comments on the video that you're responding to, you will see that women of different diversity backgrounds, different religions, different ethnicities, all agreed that this is an issue because women know that women internationally are being targeted. We don't have the privilege to look at someone in a different country and say, oh, it's their problem, because it's not. Women everywhere are being targeted. You just choose to not see it. So while I was going to hold my tongue and not respond, I thought of any woman who would see this comment and have her heart break because of the ignorance.
One of the most annoying questions in all of existence is, what if the roles were reversed?
It makes me so angry because the reverse racism stands, or the reverse oppression stands, always use this as an argument, but the roles have been reversed and they have been reversed. The only issue now is if people that are saying this, we live in a society where there are consequences for your actions. So most likely, unlike before, no one is like, it's not the 60s, no one is gonna watch you like essay someone or do something problematic or bigoted to someone without consequences. Now everybody has phones and they can now record you, and now you have consequences for the things you say and the things you do to people. So the roles have been reversed, and they are still reversed, and they will be reversed till someone decides to do something about oppression. But to act like it isn't is so dumb, because the roles are reversed. I don't care what it is. I don't care what situation you're discussing. It's funny to me how y'all will use that argument and then we'll do it behind closed doors. You're just scared. You can't do it on the internet. Boo-hoo.
Last year, I went on an adventure to find out who I was. There was a huge piece of my life missing. And up until that moment I realised it, I had no clue who I was. You see, all the emotional trauma of my childhood kept me from expressing my true self. That was until my child told me who she was. She said, "Not a boy, Dad, I'm a girl." Sometimes we hide ourselves away, even from ourselves. And then while we are buried safely beneath, we never check to see if it's safe outside. Eduardo showed me that it was safe and that I should come out. So I spent a year revisiting my childhood, using that very emotional trauma that was hiding me as a way in. A connection that allowed me to almost transport myself back in time. I am partly male and partly female, but also I'm neither male nor female. I don't want to wear girls' clothes and I don't want to wear boys' clothes, so I dress androgynous. So if you have also been hiding like I was, I just want to let you know, it's safe.
What would it mean if someone was straight and non-binary? What's the opposite gender?
Genders don't really have opposites, but I've always been of the opinion that heterosexuality is an attraction to a singular gender that is not your own, so I guess that would be up to the NB. Also, why be straight when you can be gay?
So the new RuPaul Build-A-Bear Special Edition bear doll thing, whatever you want to call it, is really triggering some people. Well, that's what the Daily Mail says. Remember, there's absolutely no agenda to groom your kids. Toy store Build-A-Bear divides customers with new RuPaul drag queen bear. So people seem to think that Build-A-Bear have created a RuPaul bear for children specifically, as if they're going to be able to get RuPaul stuffed in their Build-A-Bear workshops. But just for the record, when you go to buy the RuPaul doll bear thing on their website, it takes you to the Bear Cave, which is filled with unexpected collabs, unique plush gifts intended for shoppers 18 and older. So it's literally for adults. But you know, with all the other things going on in the world, nothing is more dangerous than a teddy bear that is dressed up in a gold dress, little heels and a blonde wig. Hide your children, lock them away, because this is seriously dangerous.
I said this once, and apparently I have to say it again, but your relationship to sexual violence does not define your gender. And I sit here in front of you as a multiple-time sexual assault survivor. I would say that sexual assault, sexual harassment, sexual violence has been one of the main factors in my understanding who I am. It's why I talk about it so openly on this platform, and why I have been writing and chronicling my healing from sexual violence publicly on Instagram for years. I learned a lot about my gender and community with other survivors, the majority of whom were women, but I'll be damned if we define womanhood or any gender by our relationship to how much assault we experience. And to be clear, you can be a privileged member of society and also experience sexual violence. I am a white person, which affords me the utmost privilege in society, and I need more than one hand to count the amount of times I've experienced sexual violence. And when you use this to define gender, you only end up hurting survivors of sexual violence.
If a boy is gay, that means that he likes boys and not girls. If a girl is a lesbian, that means that she likes girls and not boys. If a person is bisexual, that means that they like boys and girls. If a person is transgender, that means that they were told that they were a boy or a girl when they were born, when that was incorrect. If a person is non-binary, that means that person is not a boy or a girl. And words like those are not the best way to describe them. I just explained 5 LGBT words in a simple way for kids to understand that is not sexually suggestive. And because of that, I will say this. You are never too young to be a part of the LGBT community or learn about it.
Really, no Latino likes the word Latinx?
Hola, Latina here. I want to talk about your video. First of all, we do use the word Latinx. We just say it in Spanish, Latina. Assuming you speak Spanish, I'm sure you're more than capable of saying that word, Latina. You also said this.
Latinx was a word invented by white liberals to try and colonize the Spanish language.
I want you to repeat that sentence to yourself, but do it slowly this time. Colonize the Spanish language. Pop quiz. Before they were brutally murdered by Spanish colonizers, what language did indigenous people in the Americas speak? Was it A, Spanish, or B, not Spanish? Take a second to think to yourself. If you answered B, then correct. You have a basic fundamental understanding of colonialism. Spanish is the language of the colonizer. Assuming you and I have indigenous blood, a portion of our ancestors did not speak Spanish. They were colonized and forced to do so by their colonizers. By white colonizers. Which brings me to my next point. You also said this.
Spanish in general is a gendered language. It's part of our culture.
You're only half right here. Spanish is in fact a gendered language, but it's not part of our culture. This is a facet of what we call machismo, or in English, the patriarchy. Let's run through a brief history lesson. In order for colonialism to work, you need to exploit indigenous populations for their labor, for cheap or free labor, in order to sustain the new economic system that the colonizers build. The Spaniards knew this better than anyone. So they convinced the working class, more specifically men, that they had to work hard and get their daily bread without complaining. They had to be men. They had to be strong Latinos. Then they convinced the woman that they had to stay home, that they could only contribute to society through domestic labor. The colonizers pushed the concept of machismo and perpetuated these gendered norms to convince men that in order to be men, they had to work hard and never complain about it, that they should be grateful to be campesinos. But now, people in Latin America are actively working to destabilize these gender norms, to actively decolonize our language. It's not a bunch of white liberals. These are queer and trans Latinas that are tired of being left out of the conversation every single time. They're tired of the colonizers' patriarchy. And they're sick and tired of people like you that continue to uphold the colonizers' way of life. So while you're still stuck in the past, kissing up to the colonizer, I and many other Latinas are going to work hard to deconstruct and destabilize these colonial mindsets, to free ourselves from the colonizer.
Did you know that African homophobia is a vestige of colonialism? Let's talk about it. The 72 countries worldwide that criminalized homosexuality, 32 of them are in Africa, and more than half of these are British colonies. Africa's leaders often claim that homosexuality is an important Western evil, like former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe, who called homosexuality un-African and a white disease, but in fact, it's quite the opposite. Homophobia, not homosexuality, is a vestige of colonial rule, and although people like to say that colonialists brought homosexuality to Africa, they're actually the ones who introduced penal codes to outlaw gay sex. Prior to European colonization, African societies had much more relaxed attitudes towards sexual orientation and gender identity. Igbo and Yoruba tribes didn't view gender in binary terms. The Gaba people didn't assign gender based on one's anatomy, but rather the energy they presented. In fact, ancient Egyptians acknowledged a third gender, and many of their deities were androgynous. I have some more examples and a lot more to say on this subject, so I'm going to be making a part 2.
Welcome to another reason why I am no longer interested in men. I, years ago, would go on dates with men that I met or connected with on dating apps that I literally paid for, like a subscription. There's like the free version, and then there's the one you pay for that has more filters, and it's like for people that actually are looking for something serious. And I remember that these random dudes would like feel entitled to my body because they bought me a plate of food. And also, my subscription is worth more than that plate of food, motherfucker. Some of these meals were not great. It's just like, and so many people on this app women are finally speaking out. Like, they'll call a woman a gold digger if she dares to ask for even $1. But men will expect us to just be beautiful. And like, you are shallow. You don't need beauty to survive. Like, literally, you can like continue to live if you're ugly or if you're with someone not pretty. But I need money to survive. And I feel like at least we're open about it. We're honest. If a woman ever comes up to you and makes demands, requirements of you, financial requirements of you, that's a queen. That's a queen. But you will mistreat women and body shame women even after they give birth to 5 of your babies. Like, she literally had 5 children, and you'll like say, oh, she really let herself go. Oh, she's got stretch marks, flabby skin, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, this cup is how I feel. What the fuckulent? What the fuckulent? Also, hi. I want to show you. This is like really adorable, actually. A little Francie Kutsu. He likes the new tablecloth that he took a shit on. Yeah, I came home. He was in the hospital and like they gave him an enema and like laxatives, and poor little baby decided to relieve himself on my brand new yellow tablecloth. I came home to little turd nuggets on my brand new tablecloth. No, my cat has never defecated or urinated all these years anywhere but his books. So for me, I was like not mad about it. I was like, hey, finally pooped, thank God. Oh my God, my little baby Francis, I love you. I love you, Francis.
Okay, this is a question for anyone that has a vagina and goes to the gyno, okay? So keep scrolling if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because you will not understand. Okay, when you go to get your pussy probed and they tell you to get fully undressed, do you take your socks off? Because every time I'm like, do I take my socks off? I don't know. I have a little crisis in the room and I want to keep my socks on because I'm like freaking Valentina where I'm like, I would like to keep my mask on please, but with socks, I'm like, let me keep my fucking socks on. I don't want my feet next to you. Look at my pussy all day, I don't care. Do it. Not my feet though. Not my feet. Let me know. Let me know.
The thing is that you're an alpha woman. And so the alpha woman has to drive, has to go, has to hunt, has to build. The alpha woman is highly in her masculine. And when you start to heal that, you'll start to drop from your masculine into your heart. And naturally what will follow that is you will start to, whether good or bad, you'll start to desire less of the driving and the going and the hunting and the building. And you'll start to drop into your feminine and your heart, which really what that really wants, what the feminine really wants is just to be and just to live and just to love. And then you'll find a balance of both. Because we all are both. We are all masculine, right? Driven, vision, and feminine, loving, caring. And that's when you can become the most powerful version of yourself, especially as a woman. Because if you could honor and really become both, you'll be unstoppable in anything you decide to do.
Aloha and welcome. My name is Ariane Lalakea and I'm all about embodiment, empowerment, self-love, sexual liberation and leadership. I'm gonna be sharing here on TikTok, so welcome to follow me and thank you for following me. How I truly feel inside about me going on TikTok. But I'm still gonna do it. This is empowerment, right? So, welcome. More soon.
Okay, so I'm gonna go off for a minute and you can be here if you wanna be here for it. Trans female athletes are female athletes. And I do not speak on behalf of transitioned women, but I will speak to the science that I've researched about this. Conservatives constantly wanna yell about biological science, but then when you bring up transitional science, that doesn't work because it doesn't fit your narrative. Thing is transitional science has also been proven. It's been studied. They know what's going on when people transition. So in your comparison with male to female athletes, your argument is moot. Your opinion is not wisdom. It is merely your opinion because you have not researched or looked into what the fuck you want to have an opinion about. So my dears, go research and go listen and free yourself of this ignorance. Please.
This is about my Walgreens video that I made that gained a lot of popularity, and I'm still kind of in shock about it. But yeah. First off, thank you to anybody who took the time to comment, to like, to follow me, to message me. That's so friggin' sweet, and it means a lot to me. I did get some comments like this, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. The reason I use gay at the counter is really quite simple. One, I knew she was gay. She had an eyebrow slit, first off. Second off, we had an entire conversation about how our area that we live in isn't really gay friendly and how that's a shame. I also did not know her pronouns at the time. I did not find her pronouns out until later, so when I made that video, I was staying gender neutral in my terminology. And it's just literally who she was. She was a gay person at the counter in the Walgreens.
I'ma keep it gangsta, I'ma make it hot. If you're feeling like a dude, then people throw your hands up and say, You wanna dance, then get down. You're tryna chill, then sit down. Do what you wanna do. Don't let nobody tell you what you're supposed to do. You wanna corner, you riding, tryna do the bed, you ain't tryna do no time, man. I know you feel it's rough, and if you're with me, people, let me see your hands up and say, I'ma make it happen, I'ma make a way. There's nothing to prove, and you feel the same way. Say, y'all heard the lady. Say, you feel it. Yeah. I'ma keep it gangsta, I'ma make it gay. If you're feeling like a dude, then people throw your hands up and say,
I'm just about to finish my 3rd month on HRT. I have noticed great changes already with my skin and my breast, my titties. Yes, my titties. They are a little tender. They're very noticeable. Like if I wear a really tight shirt, like they are out there. They're like, oh hey bitch, how you doing? My facial hair hasn't stopped growing. I mean, it hasn't changed. It's been 3 months. I mean, I can't expect all this shit to happen in like fucking 3 months. Yes, I shave every 2 days, but I'm using a filter right now because it's already a little bit visible and I don't want to see it. It makes me feel so ill. What else? Like, obviously some very private stuff is already happening. Like, it's just the lower account, if you know what I'm talking about.
Let's be friends.
My name, my age, my favorite color, my height, my sign, do I have a lover?
I'm proud of the woman I'm becoming. My mindset has changed, my priorities have changed, my taste has changed, my tolerance has changed. I'm evolving and I'm 100% here for it.
What's up? I feel like your For You page is lacking black they them, so here's me to fix that problem for you. You're welcome.
Hi, so personally I use women with an E. I have nothing against using the X. There was a point in time when I did use women with an X, but I do feel like there is no need to change language in order to include trans women and non-binary women, because I feel like we should just be included, you know? And that kind of goes into dismantling the toxic transphobia within our society. So I don't think language will do much personally. And I do feel like a lot of people still don't understand the meaning behind women with an X because they don't even know that it's supposed to be inclusive or why it's different than women with an E. So instead, I feel like we should be striving for normalizing the fact that trans women are women. Again, I have nothing against people who use women with an X. I don't think people are transphobic for using it because I know the intentions behind it. But that's just my personal opinion. I use the E.
An argument in one of these Discord channels that I use for gaming, and I've made some friends in this group. We chat almost every day, but there's a couple in there that are a little bit interesting on their viewpoint. Most of the time we agree to disagree and move on, which is part of the reason I really enjoy the group, is we talk about a lot of stuff that's really hard topics. We got on the subject of masks and wearing them in public. I just clarified, you wear it in public, right? Because there are people with compromised immune system. Even if you don't believe it helps you, it can help other people. And he was like, you can use that P argument, whatever, they don't really work and they let in everything. And I used to be a welder, and the masks, and they don't even let us wear those masks because it still let all the fumes in and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, it's not the same thing, but okay. Oh, and my friend's a doctor, and he said that they inflate the numbers. And then without missing beat, he then proceeded to tell me that the masks worked too well and kept all the bad stuff trapped in and you were rebreathing everything. I started laughing and explaining it's not a plastic bag and he kicked me out of the Discord.
Okay, today I'd like to do a quick video on the phrase mansplaining. It seems like my brother and I have a couple different definitions on what it is, so I'm going to go over them real quick and then we're going to prove how both of them are just wrong and stupid. From my perspective, I always thought that mansplaining was a toxic guy talking to a girl like she's stupid, like explaining it in a way that, you know, is dumbed down for her to understand, right? Just expecting her to be too stupid to understand a complex topic. This is ridiculous because, of course, women can understand complicated, cognitive, complex thought without being talked down upon in a condescending manner like a child. That's just how it's been in my experience with toxic men.
And in my experience as a man, what I've seen as mansplaining, or when I've been told that I'm mansplaining, is when I take, you know, a topic that is more women-centric, like, for example, abortion or something like that, and I'm effectively told that I'm mansplaining that because since I'm a man, I can't really have a nuanced opinion on the subject. And I get it. Like, I will never have the choice, for example, to have an abortion, but that doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to have an opinion on the subject. And having a nuanced opinion on the subject that I explain to a woman does not mean that I'm invalidating her opinion, nor does it mean that my opinion is more valid than hers or anything like that. But this mansplaining term has become so commonplace that it's almost like okay boomer, except to men. So like a man has an opinion that a woman disagrees with for whatever reason that may or may not involve women. Well, now he's mansplaining. And so I think that it's just a really reductive ad hominem attack.
To all the guys watching this, I want you to know, you can look it up. It is a fact that men are better listeners. Please, for all things that are good in this world, use that skill, use that ability, and start listening. I'm literally in a debate right now with 4 different men over how I lost 60 pounds. Because it's not how they would do it. But like, bitch, you don't know hormones. Like, we have different hormones. Like, did you give birth? Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you have postpartum depression? Like, what? But, you know, they're right, and they're gonna mansplain to me what I actually did, even though I was the one that was there. Like, I did the work. I mean, hello, like, it's off. It's been off for over a year, but they're trying to tell me what I did? Like, what? Men, shut up and just listen, or just don't comment.
Stitch this with the stupidest thing a man has ever mansplained to you.
This older man could not remember what geological event helped shape the Columbia River Gorge in Eastern Oregon. And me with a geology degree over here kept saying the Columbia River flood basalt. He's like, no, that's not it. And then I was like, oh, are you talking about like cascading eruptions? And he's like, no, that's not it. And then I was like, the Missoula floods. And he turns around and snaps at me and says, no, don't guess. Let's look this up. He goes to an article on the USGS website, looks it up, and he's like, oh, it's the Columbia River flood basalt. I'm like, that's what I said the first time. He goes, no, you were guessing. And I was like, did you forget that I have a degree in geology? And then I go, look at the website. The article was written by one of my professors. I was like, I can literally call this professor right now and he would answer and talk to me. And he was like, no, that's not it. I'm like, I helped this professor. It was a minor help, but still helped map some of these like basalt layers. And you're trying to tell me that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about?
Alright, I'm calling all the girls, gays, witches, and strays, whoever is not a masculine male that is overly prideful about their masculinity. If you are, please sweat. Okay, now that they're gone, I have a point to make, so please interact with this. Tell me a time that you've experienced mansplaining. I'll go first. It just happened. I put something up on my Snapchat story about me taking a dab, and I hadn't taken a dab in a long time, and I started overly salivating, and while I was taking a hit, I started choking because I breathed in saliva, and I put that on my story. And some guy comes in and he's like, oh, you need to breathe, and I, of course, joking around, put a lot of laughing faces. I go, bitch, I know. Do you not know what over salivation is? And he got so butthurt about me calling him a bitch and joking around about it that he was like, oh, you can call other bitches that other females have, but don't you dare call me that. And I was like, what?
For you, I'm gonna let you hit it for free. If you respect me and all my friends and take me seriously as an individual and don't mansplain things to me because I'm actually quite intelligent and know how to do things myself, I would let you hit it for free.
Story time. I went into an Ace Hardware earlier today because I'm painting one of the rooms upstairs in my house, so I needed some supplies. So I just like strut in there all confident because I know what I needed. I just needed some more rollers and some new paintbrushes, a primer, and then I wanted to get a new color mixed, right? So I go up to the guy with my little paint chip and I was like, yo, can I just get a gallon of this mixed with eggshell finish, please? And all of the big men that were working at this Ace Hardware were like, and I was just kind of sitting there at like, bitch, I know how to paint a wall. I don't need y'all to mansplain me through this process. Like, goddamn. The best part was when they offered to help me carry the 2 gallons of paint out to my car, and I was like, no, and just picked them up and walked out to my car by myself. I ain't no bitch.
I remember when, I remember when, I remember when, I remember when.
I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
Basically the fact that I was with a guy, and I'm from Corsica, which is like a little island of France, and the guy, I was talking to a guy who went like maybe 4 times for like holidays, and like his dad went more than that, but anyway, and he started to explain to me like how things work there, and like how is the economy and how are the people and every stuff. And while explaining me that, I was saying like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I'm not sure, and it was like, no, but like I know. And it was like he couldn't even pronounce the name of the place right, like.
So buckle up, babies, I'm about to go on a rant. I just got mansplained about infertility. So I'm not going to call him out because I'm going to use it as a teachable moment, and then hand him his ass if he comes at me again. But I posted a video the other day on Perspective, basically calling out a Karen that on my older moms group, that she was basically more ashamed that everyone knew she had sex at 45, and that's how she got her perfectly healthy baby girl at 45 plus years of age. And this guy comes on in my comments and goes, well, you know, post 30 there's higher incidence of, you know, disabilities and disabled children. No shit, Sherlock. That's the whole point of my post. 45, having a healthy child naturally is amazing. It's a freaking miracle. Now, also, you better not have been coming at me because I'm 47 and having a kid. Let me explain to you that that process was a lot of grief, a lot of mourning my own DNA. I did not come by my kid naturally. I had to have a donor egg. I chose a 25-year-old to donate her egg to get me the child. My husband's sperm, a 25-year-old's egg. I am well aware of the disabilities that come along with being an older mother. That's why when I found out that my left ovary was dead as a doornail and my right was spitting out dust, we went for the donor egg. So I don't need some man coming at me in my comments explaining to me how this works. Ethically, we sat down, decided as a couple that this was the path we were going to take if we wanted children. We didn't have the option earlier in life. I was infertile. Due to health issues, I could not have children earlier in my life. I got those fixed. I'm in better health now than I've ever been, but with that came sacrifices. Am I upset about it? Yeah, briefly I was upset about it. But I got over it. Now I look at it as I'm offering potential in a life where there might not have been one. So that's how I look at it. Stay strong, ladies.
Ditch this with the stupidest thing a man has ever mansplained to you.
I know it's been said before, but my period. I call it shedding an organ. I'm shedding my organ. My organ is shedding. And one time I was having really bad cramps, and the guy is like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I'm shedding an organ, I'm having cramps." And he goes, "What?" I'm on my period. And he goes, "You're not shedding an organ." It's like, that's what's happening inside, but okay. And he's like, no, you bleed from your ovaries. From your ovaries. Why do I date these kind of guys?
Stitch this with the stupidest thing a man has ever mansplained to you.
Also im Zusammenhang mit dieser Pinky Glows Geschichte wurde mir von einem Typen erklärt, warum es wichtig ist, dass wir auf den Toiletten Hygieneprodukte haben, also Darmhygieneprodukte. Weil eine Frau ja jederzeit ihre Tage kriegen kann und man es manchmal einfach nicht weiß. Ja, also mir und weiteren menstruierenden Personen hat er erklärt, dass wir jederzeit unsere Tage kriegen könnten und wie unser Körper funktioniert. Ja.
Stitch this with the stupidest thing a man has ever mansplained to you.
I have been waiting for this. So I was working a couple years back, and my boss decided to spend 45 minutes teaching me how to cut paper. Apparently, I failed kindergarten. Yep.
What's going on? So I need y'all watching this to know right now that mansplaining is actually not a real thing. We live in a day and age where people love to make excuses for everything and label everything to keep, them feeling safe. So basically, mansplaining isn't fucking real. What's real is when someone projects themselves onto you because they feel like you're stupid. That's not mansplaining, okay? Yes, men do it to women, but women also do it to men, and men also do it to men, and women do it to fucking women. You guys just love to fucking play the victim and be like, oh, you blah, blah, blah. No, it's completely normal. It's just called thinking you know everything. That's all it is. So this new term that obviously women made is fucking stupid. Like, I need you to know it's stupid, and everyone does it. It's not mansplaining. It's normal.
Hi, I'm a female presenting TikToker that loves D&D. I just did a really fun idea for doing something a little different in the game.
Well, just hold up there, little missy. I'm a man. I'm just going to explain to you why you're doing fun wrong. And if I can crush your soul a little, it's a good day.
Please, for the love of God, if somebody comes up with an idea that's a little different, stop shitting on their pancakes. Just because somebody's having fun in a different way from you doesn't invalidate it. Don't be a dick.
You okay, sir? See, on this comment, I would sit there and say, okay, whatever. But the fact of I've checked your profile, and your profile, the second video in, is about how women won't come forward and report rape, and how unfair it is, and how you're absolutely gutted that this is happening. It's so unfair. But then this. I'm not sure who hurt you, sir, but you can't eat from one plate and take from the other. You can't do that. If you stand for women, you stand for all women. So your rape video is pointless.
Explaining something by a man to a woman and a man How to tell if you're mansplaining. Explaining experiences that are not yours as if you are the expert. Confusing differences in your opinion with differences in intelligence. And last, but certainly not least, our favorite one of all. To listen to unsolicited advice.
Guys, is my husband the only one who thinks that when he uses all the ice, that the ice tray goes in the dirty dishes instead of filling it back up? It had clean water in it to begin with, so just add more clean water and put it back in the fridge. Is it really that hard? Now I have something else I have to wash. I don't get it. Does everybody else wash their ice trays before they put clean ice in them? Or is it just my husband?
Can't stop myself from looking and noticing you, noticing me. Watch out, I've seen a type before. That girl is so dangerous. That girl is so dangerous. That girl is a bad girl.
Hello, beautiful humans. Got a teacher hot take for you. I don't remember where I first heard or read about this, but the idea that our modern school system was designed to produce workers for the industrial system. So a lot of the things we put emphasis on were things that we would want to see in workers. So I started trying to watch out for these things in the school system that I work in. And today I saw one. The perfect attendance wards. So, yes, we want kids in school. However, perfect attendance puts so much emphasis on being here no matter what, that this is way more important than anything else. And that's some capitalism BS. You see, I was a student with a chronic health condition, and it was way more important for me to actually be healthy than to be in school every single day. And there are many other good and valid reasons for missing school. Or sometimes it's the parent preventing the kid from getting here, and that's not the kid's fault. So there you have it.
I think every teacher has that one or two moments that were just terrible moments in their teaching career, and I'm going to share with you one of mine. I've worked in urban areas my entire life, so when our kids started getting jumped by kids from another school, we got put on different posts on the corners on the street. The one day I'm up by the bus stop by myself. Two of my kids are walking over there, and suddenly from around the corner I see like 8 kids not from our school just. So I put down my drink, I cross the street, I get between them both. I'm like, whoa, like y'all don't want to do this. All I see is like locks in hand things. They go right past me, and just start beating the living out of my 2 kids. Mind you, we're not by the school building. Like, we're in an urban area. We're in a city. So, like, the bus stop is, like, around the corner. There's no other teachers there. And all I can do is, like, pull a kid off. But then as I pull one off, there's still 7 more. So I pull another kid off. Obviously, it's not working. Finally, a couple, like, big guys from off the street come over and they're like, yo, gotta go. Like, go. My 2 kids, it was a brother and sister. Brother chasing these kids down the street. Luckily, when he got back towards the school, when he was chasing them, like one of our other teachers grabbed him and brought him inside. They had like concussions, blood in the mouth. Police get called. I have to sit down with them. I have to like go through all the questioning, like what happened, everything. After all this happens, I go to my friend's classroom and I just, tears just like pour. But this isn't even the worst part. Their parents pull them out of school, send them somewhere else. About a year down the line, I get a text. It's an article. Kid got arrested. That boy got arrested. He's in jail. In my mind, if this event did not happen, this kid would have never been pulled from our school, would not be in jail, and it just like sits with you. Like, you do not forget it. And I'm just like, man, like one event can just like change your life so drastically. And it really put things in like this crazy perspective for me. But y'all, guess who added me on Facebook like a week or 2 ago? He did. He is out of jail. He is working. He's got a kid that he is always posing up and taking care of. And like in that moment that he added me, that like weight from that experience just like So if y'all think teachers have it hard or y'all don't understand us, we go through some things that like y'all will never ever understand, and we carry that weight of our kids.
I'm mad at Disney, they tricked me, made me think that I would need a man. But now I'm 20-something, girls make me blush, and I now know who I really am. Turns out I'm gay as fuck, and I'm madly in love, and I don't have to fear I'm not enough. Cause I've seen straight love, but I want brave love. Sometimes faking love makes you want to give up. I felt nervous, cause she's so perfect. Need her in my life, this is what love feels like. I know love is love, I know love is love, love is love. I know love is love, I know love is love is love is love.
So I recently got a new day job, woohoo! But I've also been working in academia since graduate school. So like for a lot of years, some years. And it occurred to me that I'm actually going to have to buy like real job clothing. Because let me tell you, you can get away with a whole lot of crazy in your wardrobe as an academic, because people are just like, oh, it's okay, they just got so much important study work to be doing, and they just let it happen. I don't think a real job does that though. Like look at these pants. These are like 8 sizes too big. Look at this belt. I'm wearing brown and black and blue. I think that breaks all the fashion rules. It's gonna be a mess, y'all. These are short Nike socks. No, you're not. It's not. Like, I can't wear this to work. In reality, it's like, academics make like $5 an hour. So we just buy all of our clothes from hand-me-downs and Goodwill.
I notice a lot of you ask questions in the comment, but I don't always see them. So here's 2 things you can do. 3 things, I lied. 1, at me in the comment. 2, go to my profile and click the Q&A and ask it through there. 3, go to my Instagram and just message me on Instagram. And we'll get back to you.
Such a number sessions for you. Kitchen and I'm in the bedroom. I don't need a lift, they say I'm pumping through holes. I'm a love infinite, nothing I wouldn't do, that I won't do. Searching for you. Cooking in the kitchen and I'm in the bedroom. I don't need a lift, they say I'm pumping through holes. I'm a love infinite, nothing I wouldn't.
Hi guys, I've been getting this question a lot, so I decided, why not answer this question right here, right now? Let's go! Also, just a quick little thing. Everybody uses neopronouns differently. And no one uses them the same. And that's totally amazing, and that is totally okay. So, there's no quick and easy guide to this. I'll just explain mine. I pronounce them z, them, zer. Like they, them, theirs. I saw them at the store today. They are doing good. Yeah. Hope you have a lovely night. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Know that I will never marry. Baby, I'm just soggy from the chemo.
Just a PSA that we support neopronouns on my page. That's all.
Know that I will never marry. Baby, I'm just soggy from the chemo. But counting down the days.
I had 2 stepdads growing up who were abusive and awful. Never met my birth dad. He's somewhere in Colorado. I found his number on the internet when I was 17 and I reached out to him and I tried to get him to just be in my life. But he couldn't do that, so he's a ghost.
Hey, it's my birthday and I just want to say, being fat never prevented me from being treated like a princess, and the men who date me, who show me a good time, who take care of me, who lavish me with all this love and gifts and excitement, I just have to say, I'm worthy.
So I was just channel surfing and I came across Cops, and I hadn't seen that show in years. And it had just turned on, so I watched the first encounter, and This cop says, "We just observed a female riding a bike down the dark streets, and she doesn't have a front or back light on the bike. So we're gonna pull her over and tell her she needs to get a light on there." This was right after he did this whole spiel about protecting the community and putting bad guys in jail and shit. So he instigates the situation with the woman, catches up to her in the car, flicks his lights on. She doesn't want to pull over because she's riding a fucking bike. But then she tries to go fast and run. Right. So he chases her. 2 people tackle her. He's got his knee in the center of her back, telling her to relax. Then they find 2 little half-gram baggies of spice in her back pocket. And they have the nerve to say they were packaged for individual sale.